Hello everyone, welcome to today's confirmation class video lesson, and I hope you're all keeping safe and well and making good use of the time that we all have at this time. And as I said last week, we're going to carry on the confirmation classes in these video lessons so that as soon as we're able to organise a confirmation service, you're all ready to be confirmed. So first of all, thank you to all the people who've sent me pictures of your Easter gardens that you made last week. These are some of the ones I've been sent. So we've got marvellously creative minds and imagination there. You can see the tomb and the three crosses and the flowers and the path as well that leads to Jesus' tomb. So well done for thinking about the Easter story, the resurrection last week. So this week's activity, which I'd like you to do, is to decorate either this or something like this. I've sent your parents an email with a link to all this week's work and worksheets, and on that link is a copy of this picture. It's the rainbow to say thank you to the wonderful National Health Service, NHS workers. And you can decorate this however you want. And what I'd like you to do is put it in your window and take a picture of it and get your grown-up to send me that picture, and I'll show you some of the ones that have been sent in next week's video lesson. You don't have to use this one. If you could use your own, you could use your imagination. This is just to give you an idea. But I'd like us all to put a picture of a rainbow in your window, and I'm going to put one in the vicarage window as well, so I'll show you a picture of the rainbow in my window, my study window, next week. So that's on the email link that I've sent to your grown-ups. Now, I said I would go through with you some of the worksheets that you did last week, so I hope you all managed to do the worksheets and to think about the Easter story. And obviously the dot to dot, no surprises there, is the cross. That's the answer to the puzzle. You can see the numbers. Hopefully you all got those numbers. And I'll just come around so I can see it. So the message is, he is not here, but has risen. So well done if you got that right. These are the right answers to the Easter crossword. So you can see there, it's resurrection, Passover, Iscariot, I don't know if you got stuck on that, it's Judas, but Judas is called Judas Iscariot, stone, death and crucifixion with a C on there, and obviously the anagram at the bottom there, it says salvation. The wordplay, Jesus was crucified on a cross, true. Pontius Pilate was the high priest, false. He was the Roman governor. Jesus was in the tomb for 7 days, false. He was in for 3. Jesus was made to wear a crown of thorns, true. The soldiers mocked Jesus, offering him sour wine and saying, if you're the king of the Jews. When the centurion saw what had taken place, he praised God, saying, certainly this man was innocent. When they found the stone rolled away from the tomb. Now, these might have been a bit tricky, but the unscrambled words say cross, resurrection, crucifixion, stone, darkness, sacrifice, blood, and nails. So give yourself a pat on the back if you got all of those right. And then the missing words, Father, forgive them. Now, after the Sabbath, towards the day of the dawn, and entering the tomb, they saw a young man sitting on the right side. So again, well done if you got those all right. And maybe you managed to find Jesus's way, carrying his cross, rather contorted way up to the 3 crosses. So I'm not going to go through all the answers for the word search or for the difficult Easter fill-in puzzle. I know that might have been a bit of a challenge. If any of you, any of you got them all right, get your grown-up to let me know. Or if you think you got most of them right and you might have got more than anyone else, let me know how many, and I'll see who's got the most, and I'll send an email to your parents and tell the winner who is the winner. Now, at the end of the video lesson today, there's going to be another quiz, like a five question quick quiz, which you have to write down the answer straight away in. So if you haven't already got a piece of paper and something to write with, pause this video now and go and get something to write with. Okay, so we started off, in the last lesson, we'd started looking at the baptism of Jesus by his cousin, John the Baptist, because we're going to go on from that to think about what it means for us to be baptized in the church, and then how confirmation follows on from baptism. As you make the vows and promises that were made for you when you were baptized, you make them for yourselves when you're confirmed. But it all starts off with the story of Jesus being baptized by John. I know we did start off thinking about this in the last lesson, but I'm going to go through it again because it was some time ago and it'll just help you to think. And so if you listen carefully now to the story, I'm just going to say something about the story afterwards, and then I'll ask you those questions. So get ready to listen carefully. So this is the story of the baptism of Jesus. At that time, Jesus arrived from Galilee and came to John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. But John tried to make him change his mind. I ought to be baptized by you, John said, and yet you have come to me. But Jesus answered him, let it be so now, for in this way we shall do all that God requires. So John agreed. As soon as Jesus was baptized, he came up out of the water. Then heaven was opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God coming down like a dove and lighting on him. Then a voice said from heaven, this is my own dear Son, with whom I am pleased. So that's the story of Jesus being baptized. So think for yourselves, just for a minute, about what that story might mean and what it might mean to think about how we have baptism in our church. We don't baptise people in the Church of England in a river usually, but in some countries in the world, some churches do, including some churches that belong to the Church of England Anglican organisation that we belong to. They actually go down as a village with the person to be baptised, and the priest stands in the river, and sometimes it's actually a grown-up that's baptised, and they're in a big white robe, and the priest dunks them in the river and brings them up physically like that. Well, we don't do that, but what we symbolise, which means we represent things like that in our church, we have water in the font, and we use oil to show that something special is happening. And one thing that we could think about using water is that it's like God washing away all our sins. So all that's bad, anything that we don't like, anything that we don't want, that's all been washed away for us by God. And we just realise that. And we use oil to, usually it's a baby that's being baptised, but not always, to show that person is a member of God's family, God's church. And I say special blessing and make the sign of the cross and pour the water over the baby's head 3 times. And that's to show that just as the Spirit of God came down like a dove upon Jesus, so we believe the Spirit of God is present at baptism. And the special word we use for when we believe the Spirit of God is present is the word sacrament. Sacrament. We don't worry too much about that now because we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. But with those 3 things, washing away of sins, belonging to God's family, the church, and the Spirit of God coming down as a sacrament, just as at your confirmation, the bishop will use oil, you'll use the same words at baptism, and when you're confirmed, we believe the Spirit of God comes down, and to symbolise that, the bishop will make the sign of the cross in oil on your foreheads. Okay, so we've come now to the quiz. So get your paper and pen or pencil ready. Question 1. Where did Jesus arrive from? Question 2. Where was God at? Sorry, I'll start again. Where was John at? Question 2. Where was John at when Jesus came to him? Where was John at when Jesus came to him? Question 3, what did John at first try to do? What did John at first try to do? Question 4, What did Jesus see the Spirit of God coming down like? What did Jesus see the Spirit of God coming down like? And question 5, what did the voice from heaven say after "This is my"? So what did the voice from heaven say after saying "This is my"? Okay, you ready? Here's the answers. Number 1, Galilee. Number 2, Jordan. Number 3, make him change his mind. Number 4, a dove. And number 5, own dear son. So well done if you got all of those right. If you didn't, you have to go right back to the beginning of this vlog, watch the whole thing again and do it until you get them all right. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'll put out another video lesson this time next week. I've emailed your parents, your grown-ups, the worksheets for this week based on the story of the baptism of Jesus. There's also a worksheet in there about what it means to be baptized in church. If you get stuck on some of it, because I'll be going through it in a bit more detail next week, don't worry, because I'll give you the right answers. So if you're not quite sure, you can just leave it blank. Or if you're absolutely stuck, get your grown-up to contact me, and I'll help them. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to put your rainbows in your windows, take a picture and get it sent to me. So take care and God bless, and I'll make another vlog next week.